You know that cup of coffee you're holding right now, or maybe just thinking about? Well, it is so much more than just a drink. It's really the final chapter of this incredible global story, one that's just packed with history and science and culture. So let's dive in and uncover the hidden journey in your cup.
And it's just so true, isn't it? I mean, think about it. Whether it's fueling a late night study session or, sparking a conversation at a cafe, coffee has this amazing power to connect us. It cuts right across borders and cultures. It's like this universal language we all understand.
So, what is the real story behind that daily cup? Well, to really get it, we're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to trace this journey backward. We'll start with the familiar brew in our hands, and then we're going to travel back in time and across the globe, all the way to a wild discovery made by, believe it or not, some very energetic goats.
Okay, so let's start right where we are, with the finished product. That simple cup of coffee, it's part of this massive global ritual. It's a shared experience that, yeah, it looks a little different everywhere you go, but it always comes down to the same thing: connection.
And this is where you can see how coffee becomes so much more than just a thing you buy. Think about the grand cafes of Paris and Vienna. They were hubs for intellectuals and artists, literally fueling revolutions in art and philosophy. Then you go to Ethiopia, its birthplace, and it's the heart of these sacred traditional ceremonies that bind communities together. Across the Americas, offering a cup of coffee is a fundamental symbol of hospitality. And in Asia, it's this amazing blend of tradition and super modern innovation. It's just incredible. All right, so we've looked at the culture that surrounds the finished cup. Now let's take our first big step backward in time. Because before that coffee was ever roasted, it was just a humble green bean. And you know what? The way that bean was processed, that is one of the most crucial steps in deciding how it's going to taste. Okay, so one of the two big methods is called the wet or washed process, and it is a really meticulous, multi-step kind of thing. First, they remove the outer skin of the coffee cherry. Simple enough. Then, the beans get soaked in these big water tanks to ferment. And this is the key part. It breaks down this sticky, kind of honey-like layer called mucilage that's covering the bean. Finally, they're washed totally clean and then dried. It's a ton of work for sure, but wow, does it pay off in the final flavor. And this chart really shows you the impact of that choice. That wet method we just talked about, it gives you a coffee with that clean, bright, really vibrant flavor profile. Now, the other method, dry processing, is way simpler. The entire coffee cherry is just laid out to dry in the sun, sometimes for weeks, so all that fruitiness soaks right into the bean. And the result? You get a cup that's full-bodied, sweet, with these really intense fruity notes. So the main takeaway here is huge. The path they choose at this stage completely changes the taste in your cup. All right, let's take another step back. Because before any of that processing can even happen, the coffee cherries have to be picked from the tree. And just like with processing, the choices made right here at the harvest are absolutely critical for the final quality. So you basically got two choices. For the really high-quality stuff, the specialty coffee, farmers use selective picking. This means people go through the fields by hand, and they only pick the perfectly ripe, bright red cherries. It's super labor-intensive and it costs more, but you get amazing consistency. The other way is strip picking, which is exactly what it sounds like. They just strip everything off the branch at once. The ripe ones, the unripe green ones, everything. It's way faster for sure, but you end up with a real mixed bag in terms of quality. And of course, we have to talk about the actual plants themselves. Most of the coffee in the world comes from two main species, Arabica and Robusta. Think of Arabica as the diva of the coffee world. It's picky, it needs high altitudes, just the right climate, but the reward is these delicate, complex, super aromatic flavors. Robusta, on the other hand, is, well, it's more robust. It's tougher, easier to grow at lower elevations, and it packs a much bigger caffeine punch. It's got that bold, earthy flavor that's often the backbone of a great espresso blend. Okay, so we've gone from the cup, back to the bean, back to the harvest. Now, it's time to go all the way back. I mean, all the way to the very beginning. We're headed to the misty highlands of ancient Ethiopia, to a legend that started the whole thing. So the legend goes like this. Centuries and centuries ago, an Ethiopian goat herder named Kaldi noticed his flock was getting incredibly energetic. We're talking practically dancing, after eating these bright red berries off a particular shrub. Naturally, he got curious, tried the berries himself, and felt that same amazing jolt of energy. He shared what he found with a local monastery, and right there, the incredible journey of coffee began, all because of dancing goats. It's just a fantastic story.
And from that one legendary discovery, coffee spread across the world was just remarkable. It took off. By the 15th century, it was already being cultivated and traded all across the Arabian Peninsula, where it was this incredibly prized commodity. And from there, it basically conquered the world, becoming the global phenomenon we all know and love today. And that brings us right back around, full circle to the present day. But now, when we look at our cup, we have to think about two more really crucial things that define the modern coffee experience: what it does to our bodies and what it does to our planet.
So let's start with health, and the news here is increasingly good. When you drink it in moderation, coffee is a real powerhouse. It is loaded with antioxidants that help protect your cells. We all know the caffeine gives you that boost in alertness and brain function, but studies also link it to things like enhancing your mood, better liver health, and even a lower risk of type 2 diabetes. Pretty amazing stuff.
But we also can't ignore the challenges, and they are significant. This huge global demand for coffee creates some major sustainability problems. I mean, deforestation is a huge one, as forests get cleared for new plantations. Then there's the critical issue of making sure farmers get fair wages and have good working conditions. And let's not forget that traditional processing uses a ton of water. And hanging over all of it is the threat of climate change, which could seriously jeopardize the future of coffee as we know it.
So there you have it. We've traveled all the way from the local cafe, back to Caldi's Dancing Goats, and then right back to today. We've seen the culture, the incredible craft, and also the consequences. So now you know the journey. You know about the hands that picked it, the methods that shaped its taste, the long history it carries inside it. The story isn't hidden anymore. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you lift your mug, what story will you see in your cup?